Yeah, we are live. Good evening, brothers and sisters. Welcome to this evening's broadcast. It's a very nice Sunday over here in Istanbul. Thank you, guys, wherever you're joining me from. I hope those of you that are traveling to home for Xmas are finding things as you plan it. May you all enjoy a safe sojourn back home or wherever you are, or people like me who are not traveling. May we enjoy our continuous stay wherever we are to send something to people back home, even friends, family, old schoolmates. Man, it's very hard over there. $50 is nice, it's enough for them, for a lot of them. A lot for majority of people back home, believe me. I can tell you from experience, and I know what people are passing through right now. Guys, we have 4 people watching. Who is joining us right now? Please, your name and where you're joining from. And please forgive me for the name change. I don't know. I didn't know how to tell you guys, but I believe you would have seen that there's a name change. We changed the name. Please holler at me. Let me know you are joining. Your name and where you're joining us from. Who is joining? Please let me take a moment and share this on Twitter. Let me take a moment and share this on Twitter. That's the only place I can share it. I can share it on Facebook. David Obilo, hi, good evening. Welcome. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining me this wonderful evening. Thank you so much. Guys, please let me thumb up the video and share it and invite other people, please. And at the end of this video, please share it if you can on Facebook. Just don't write anything. Click share Facebook directly. Share it, let people get, because a lot of our friends don't know that we are here. And I hope to be uploading these videos on my Facebook account as soon as we're back. So my people, without waste much of our time, there is this news that we've been hearing about ECO, the new West African currency. As a matter of fact, I won't hide my feelings about it. I don't think the entire West Africa should be using the same currency. Yeah, especially when you have a population like Nigeria and maybe Ghana, Cameroon to some extent. But apart from that, the other people, they could use one currency. But on a second thought, I look at this. These guys are moving from one single currency to another. Then what's the difference? And what's the similarity among them? Uzo Hope, thank you. Welcome. We found out that while the whole West Africa using one currency wouldn't be the best of ideas, wouldn't be the best idea out there, but it's a shift from the colonial bondage they've been in. And a lot of people, if not for the internet, a lot of people, including myself, wouldn't know that France controlled the economy of, like when I mean control the monetary policy of all the countries that are using CFA. And when you hear the name, the meaning of that CFA, believe me, you will run mad. It's a colonial name, and the system is a colonial system. Can you try to make your videos longer? No, YouTube video, I don't want to make it longer because it burns their data. A lot of people wouldn't get all the message. That's why. I'm sorry, but when I will try and be, if there is anything we update, we need to maybe a backup video. Maybe we'll be doing a backup video to some programs. And if you have any question to ask, you at the end of the video, you can just put it under there, because most of these live chats don't do this thing. Don't show up later. So when you see the name is colonial in name, I want to read you an article from New York Times. Then I'll play you a video from what do they call it? This Al Jazeera, that they did a video. Don't you to watch? How could France? In fact, one of the reasons they removed Laurent Gbagbo is because he was one of the African rulers, African presidents that were calling for an end to French issue. In fact, he wasn't even calling for an end to that currency, per se. He was calling for these people to allow Africans keep 50% of their money, of their wealth, of their resources. He has been calling for it, and what did they do? They removed him. They removed him from power and put Ouattara, and that thing alone woke up many Africans, many African rulers. That thing shook them because they never believed that these people will one day go after Laurent Gbagbo. And what he was asking for is what their citizens have been asking for a long time. As a matter of fact, this is why the French killed Thomas Sankara. That was why they killed him. And ever since then, Burkina Faso has not known peace. There is a huge political turmoil in Burkina Faso right now. And that is since the ouster of Blaise Compaoré, who was Thomas Sankara's best friend, who killed him, who they used to assassinate him, who murdered him in cold blood, assassinated him. Multiple bullets they pumped into his body. Go and read about the death of Thomas Sankara, what he stood for, and why these people had to take him out. Go study that. So, West African countries woke up because of that, and they've been asking for not even total control of their monetary policy, is just for them to keep whatever these people say belongs to them, not 50%. Now they say they are doing it for monetary stability. Look at France, a broke country. Everything in France is owned by individuals. The Bourbons still control France. The Rothschilds still control France. The J gang and the Z gang, which we are not allowed to mention here. If not, you become an anti-Semite. They start calling you an anti-Semite or a Holocaust denier. These guys they own everything. In fact, most of the things we think that almost all of the things we think that French people own in Nigeria or any other part of Africa, most of those things are not even owned by the French government. It's these corporations, and they are the ones that own the Bank of France. Now, the Bank of France is now tied to where? The European Union. Who owns the European Union? The ECB, European Central Bank. What country owns it? They found out that it's the same corporations in the city of London, it's the same corporations in Hamburg, the same corporations in Paris, the same corporations in Vienna, Berlin, Madrid, Rome, Milan, Venice. It's the same people. So that's how they own this. Then those French corporations will now be paying money into the French treasury. Then from that place, there are people who have money they spend then, and those people, those corporations will be buying their politicians one after the other, one after the other. That's why you don't get to see any of their politicians say anything about their continuous colonialism in Africa. So when you put all these things in mind, you find out that it's a welcome development for them to even switch. Now, there is a Trojan horse we should be aware of right now. Who is going to be in control of that currency? Who is going to be issuing that currency? Is it the same French banks? Is it the same Western banks? Then if it's them, is there any safety net we have against these people? Is this a fiat currency, or is it tied to the mineral resources of those countries? Then if it's tied to the mineral resources of those countries, does it mean that they will send those French corporations away from Africa? Now, this is where everyone should be mindful. There is a problem if we control it, and there is a problem if we don't control it. Where's the problem now if we control it? If we control it, expect them to stir up revolt and protest and fake demonstrations in those countries. What they will do now is this. All those major leaders, that are pivotal in the formation of this new economic bloc. All those presidents that are in support of this, they will start raising revolts among their people. Of course, they know the problem facing every African country. They know that merging different nations into one country is an easy trigger for revolution and political disunity. What they will do now is this: they will come to a country, they will find the most, you see the way Nigeria is, where one region will control other places. Then they've changed it from one region to a ruling class from different regions. Now you have a ruling class, like when you go to Cameroon, there are many southern Cameroonians that are working with Paul Biya. Those people wouldn't want the system changed. Meanwhile, their own people are suffering. The same thing in Nigeria. Even the northerners too are suffering, but the ruling class are enjoying. If, let's say, if they want to use Nigeria, if Nigeria is among that, is one of the members of that economic bloc, what they will do is this: they will start talking about the issues of Biafra. They would start talking about the issues of Biafra and other political these things that needs to be addressed in the Southeast, which is not addressed. Then they will bring up the issue of Showore. They will bring out the issue of this, that region, this place, that place. Before you know it, giving them back what they've lost. This one place people should start looking, paying attention. This is where you should be paying attention to avoid fake revolutions. You may have legitimate concern, fine, but why weren't they talking about all those issues before the formation of this economic bloc? That is one thing you should remember. Another thing is this: they will start bringing up any criminal case they can lay their hand on against all the leaders that are leading this economic bloc. Yes. Someone like Buhari cannot chase away American corporations from Nigeria. It's not possible. He can't do it. Why? If he wants to do that, they will bring up the massacre of IPB guys, the massacre of the Shias, these Shiite protesters in Abuja. Will bring up issues, even this all these violence. All these violent attacks we recorded during the election, they have all these things. They've documented each and every one of them. They have each and every one of them documented. Everything filed, kept at a place, waiting for a day like this, because they anticipate it. Of course, somebody that is robbing you will expect you to wake up one day. Are you getting me now? So this is the Trojan horse people should always look for. Who controls this money? Who will be in control of its issuance? Let me read you a quote by Mayor Rothschild, the patriarch of the Rothschild family. When you hear about the Rothschilds, this is the quote. They are the patriarch of that banking dynasty. This is the word he said about England. Now, let me read it. He said, "Give me control of a nation's currency supply, money supply, and I care not who makes it laws." So said Mayor Amschel Rothschild, founder of the Rothschild banking dynasty. So whoever controls, imagine America, the way the USA is now. See what they are doing to the president of the USA. Who is doing that? It's the Federal Reserve, the banking dynasty, because he's not going to do their bidding, i.e., going to war with Iran. They want to destroy the Middle East and take control of energy deposit there. They already own Africa. It's energy war, and whoever controls, those days they were fighting to control what? The slave route, the naval route. because they were using it for trade, carrying slaves and other products they need. Today, what drives the economy is no longer slavery. Slavery, human beings are not the capitals anymore. What's the capital now? Is natural resources. And the leading one is what? Energy. Because of science advancement, mineral wealth, and all these things are in the Middle East. So if they don't control the ones in the Middle East, it means that those people will be operating under a different economic system, under a different banking system. That way, you don't have to buy dollar for 150 naira today, and 3 years later you're buying it for 500. Next thing, it goes back to 350 something. Next thing, it's going back to 360. Before you know it, it will be pursuing 400 now. So, and if you notice, hardship always, if you watch the chart, hardship, the graph of hardship goes up the same time your money is devalued. If your currency strength is going down, if you watch it, hardship will be going up. Who are the people doing that? They are the people controlling your currencies, correct? Controlling everything you are doing. Linda Umidi, welcome. I'm fine. If they can control your currency, they can control your economy. Now, what are they doing that? So they will buy your product at cheap. Meanwhile, at the same time, they are limiting supply of currency in your area. They are devaluing your currency so they will get your resources on the cheap. How much is a liter of petrol in Nigeria? Then how much is a liter of petrol in the USA? If they allow you have all these things, factories and everything, what do you need them for? If your company starts refining your petroleum product, what do you need Shell, ExxonMobil, Ajib, Chevron? What do you need them for? You don't. You don't. So they are trying to stop you from gaining your freedom. Now, let me read this article. Let me take some moment and read this article. Then I'll play the video. We will then go on. This article is from New York Times, of all places. New York Times, of all places. Let me read you what I said. West African countries take a step away from colonial era currency. A block of 8 countries will rename their French-backed currency, and France will scrap a contentious requirement for reserve deposit. Looks like the French will be controlling the money anyway. Dakar, Senegal. A block of West African countries took a step away from a French-backed regional currency that dates back to the colonial era, making a significant symbolic break from the past. The president of Ivory Coast, Alassane Ouattara, speaking at a joint news conference with the visiting president of France, Emmanuel Macron, said on Saturday that the bloc was changing the name of CFA France, used in aid to West African countries, and renaming it to ECO. Oh, the same money that renaming it to ECO. Oh, well. CFA stood for French Colonies of Africa. Pay attention to this name. That CFA means French Colonies of Africa. But you know, this is the French, French acronym. Now they translated it to English. That's why it's like FCA, but it's CFA. That CFA stood for the French Colonies of Africa when the then colonial power introduced the currency in 1945. Though it was changed after independence to the Financial Community of Africa. Yes, the same thing. The same thing. It is seen by many as a relic of France Afrique. France Afrique is the name they give all these French colonies, like you say, British Nigeria, but British West Africa those days. It means British dominance of West Africa, ownership. They changed the name, but something is happening. Now I go back. It is seen by many as a relic of France Afrique, the unofficial system under which France exerted influence over its former colonies in sub-Saharan Africa long after independence. This is a historic day for West Africa, Mr. Ouattara said in the Ivorian capital, Abidjan. Most of the criticisms of the CFA has centered around the requirement of the countries that use it are required to keep 50% of their foreign currency reserves in the French treasury. Under the agreement between France and the 8 countries, this requirement will be scrapped when it, it becomes the ECO, as with the stipulation that a French representative sits on the currency union's board. Imagine this CFA they are using, a supposed African currency, yet a French representative must sit at its board. Is it beginning to make sense to you? Is it beginning to make sense to you? A money used by 8 African countries has to be overseen by a French representative. Then how would someone look at this and say that those people are free? Where's the freedom? Tell me, where's the freedom? Okay. Now let me go to this paragraph. Like its predecessor, the echo will be pegged to the euro, which advocates of the CFA said gave it stability. Oh, they will peg it with the euro. Let's watch. Abolishing the CFA franc has long been a demand of activists across the region. Opponents have demonstrated against the currency, which is seen as undermining African countries' sovereignty in Senegal, Cameroon, Togo, and even France itself. It's a question of dignity. We have to live, said Hadiba, a Senegalese philosopher who has written about the CFA. He added, though, that the region did not have many responsible governments, and so he was skeptical that this change would truly be in West African countries' economic interest. He has a point there. An ECO had already been in the works, but for a different and larger configuration of West African states. 15 West African countries were due to introduce a new currency called the ECO in 2020, but Mr. Ouattara's announcement will almost certainly kill that project. According to Ndongo Samba Sila, the author of The Last Colonial Currency, the Frank CFA Story, he said that in effect, the Ivorian president and the rest of the CFA franc countries had hijacked the original ECO plan, and by keeping their currency pegged to the euro, has chosen to keep their French ties rather than, I said it, that Ouattara is a puppet. Remember, I mentioned Babo at the beginning of this. Miriam Raymond, welcome. Udeze Chidebere, welcome. Remember, Ouattara is the guy that they replaced Babo with when they removed Babo. And this Ouattara, you see, is not even an Ivorian. According to many authoritative voices in Ivory Coast, he's not even an Ivorian. Why would he peg it to euro? The euro has no stability. The biggest economy in the eurozone is Germany. The British are leaving. Now, even the Germany that dominates the European this thing, the German economy is failing. Deutsche Bank, the German's biggest bank, in fact, the biggest bank in Europe, if I'm not mistaken, is going into solvent or insolvent. Look at what they say their equity is. And a bank that large is in problem. Now, this Ouattara is pegging this. I told you, this is the Trojan horse. I haven't even read this article down to this place. This is the Trojan horse we are talking about. In fact, this thing should be at the subheading. This Trojan horse should be at the subheading, but now you see why I'm telling you that we should be very, very careful. Jumping from one slave plantation to another is not the right thing. Now, Ouattara is going to torpedo these things. I told you, people. Let me continue reading. Hold on. Mr. Macron had made several visits to African countries during his tenure, frequently speaking out against the crimes of colonialism story. And on Saturday, he described it as a grave mistake on the part of the French Republic. A year. The change from Sefa to Echo will likely improve his image on the African continent. What? Man, that is a Trojan horse for real, because those people will still be in control. Today, here are two Sefa France, one used in 8 West African countries and the other used in 6 Central African nations. Only the West African states will use the ECHO. Abolishing the requirement for country foreign reserve to be kept in French treasury and the departure of the French representative from the currency union boss were superficial changes that had no impact on countries' control of their own money. Mr. Silla said, yes, 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 it's superficial. Abolishing the country and changing the head of this thing is superficial. The man that wrote that book, this Silla, please, everybody go and read this article. New York Times, the New York Times article. Go and read it. I will try and copy it and put it on the comment section. Maybe 30 minutes after this video, go to the comment section and check it. I will copy this article and pin it there. Go read this thing, read it. As we are still pegged to the euro, yes, we have to have conservative monetary policy, he said, adding that as he saw it, France still wielded significant power in the region through both the currency and its extensive military presence there. Yes, 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 yes. But if you don't read this article to this level, to this, if you don't do any in-depth reading, you wouldn't know this. You wouldn't know this. You see it. I knew it from beginning. It's a Trojan horse. But no matter what, it's a dumb. I'm not going to throw out the baby with the bathwater. No. Removing this, their representative as the head, is one way of making progress. Then let us not sit on our oars. I trust these people. If they could lead a campaign that could get this to this place, I trust them to keep on pushing until Uhuru is achieved. Because that's the mission. That has been the mission from day one. That has been the mission of Pan-Africanism. Then from then, we will start talking about removing their military presence from Africa. We need to cut their pipeline away from Africa. We've fed them enough. And this is a step in the right direction, far from perfect, far from okay, far from good. But it's a right step in the right direction. Nonetheless, I'm not going to be a sadist. So let me play this 2.5 minutes video. So you will hear the way Al Jazeera reported it. Let me just play the video here. You will hear the sound, but you won't see it. Oh, adverts. Let me change the ad, please.
There are topics that can both divide and bring West Africans together. Football with the Africa Cup of Nations, how to properly grill a chicken, and money. That's because 15 West African countries have agreed to create and share a single currency called ECHO by next year.
It's a great idea. If we have the same currency, we could be one big country like America. Big and strong, and then we will all be treated as equals.
Already 8 of the 15 countries use the same currency, the African franc or CFA, a legacy of French colonialism. France's central bank acts like a manager, holding part of their treasury to guarantee financial stability. The 7 other nations often deal with inflation and currency volatility, with each of them directing their own monetary policy. Omar Awansi, a graduate student in trade, says he has watched leaders say a common currency is the solution since 1983.
Some are playing defensively, others are being too aggressive and not thinking of the collective. We need to play as a team for this to work and for everybody to win from it, including Senegal.
While Nigeria is the continent's, Senegal and Ivory Coast are some of the fastest growing in the world. And yet, the UN says less than 20% of trade here is happening among African countries. The challenge is to get the big players in the region, like Ivory Coast and Nigeria, to stop competing against each other, but to work as a team together for the benefit of the people of West Africa. For Senegalese chicken stock maker Patisen, a common currency is good for business, allowing easier access to Nigeria's $420 billion economy.
We need to move beyond the African franc to boost trade. Nigeria is the driving force of West Africa's economy. A single currency would allow us to overcome all of our challenges today.
It's a sizzling debate, with each its own opinion. While there may be uncertainty over the single currency, regional leaders believe that in the end, Africans will come out as winners. Nicholas Hawk, Al Jazeera, Dakar.
My people, you've heard it, but no mention of all these things we just read in that New York Times article. Like I said, I will post that article. I'll put it at the in the comment section. 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes from now, please try and come back and read the article in full. It's not long. It's an article you can read just within 3 minutes. You'll finish it. Just read it and be having an idea as to how you're being governed. Like always, please, thank you for listening to me. Help me share this video, invite our friends, man. I'm not going anywhere. There's no success with that 1,000 subscribers, this target for now. But I know when I come back on Facebook, I will build it within 2 weeks or 3 weeks. But that being said, help me share this video. Help me invite people. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Then turn on the notification bell so they will alert you when next we are coming live. Thank you, and keep living, keep researching, keep knowing, keep doing in-depth research so no one will fool you in this age. The only difference between the ruling class and the peasant class in this age is knowledge, is intelligence. Your school will not give it to you. You alone will just find the right place and seek out that information and equip yourself. Know what's going on so you don't get confused by anything. Thank you once more for joining me. Good night and have a wonderful night's sleep. See you later.